Hello, everybody. Candlelighting time this evening is 8:17. You know, this coming week we enter into the month of Tammuz, and Thursday is the third day of Tammuz, Gimel Tammuz, the day that we will know we were not able any longer to be able to see the Rebbe in the physical sense, and we hope and pray for the time to come very soon that we'll be reunited with the Rebbe and be able to see him in the physical sense. I'd like to tell you a story that shows us the tremendous spiritual power of the Rebbe and his care and concern for his followers. Many years ago, there was a rabbi living in Elizabeth, New Jersey by the name of Rabbi Teitz, and he would often make trips to Russia. And before he went to Russia, he would go to the Rebbe and he would ask for a blessing, and the Rebbe would sometimes give him certain instructions. This was the time that communism was very strong, and this was very dangerous for a Jew to openly show that he was practicing Judaism. Now, Rabbi Teitz was not a follower, he was not a Chabad Chassid, a follower of the Rebbe, but he was a very great scholar, and he was considered himself a close friend of the Rebbe. So one time he comes to the Rebbe, he's leaving soon to Russia, and the Rebbe gives him some different instructions about going to Russia and what he should try to find out and bring back and report, because there was a very large underground movement of Chabad at that time in Russia. And he asked Rabbi Teitz a favor. He said, "Can you do me a favor?" Rabbi Teitz said, "Sure." He gave Rabbi Teitz a Tanya. He said, "This is my own personal Tanya that I study in every day. When you go, try to arrange to meet some of the Chabad Hasidim, some of my followers, and just show them this Tanya." He said, "Of course." He goes there, and you know, when you get to Russia, if you want to go to the synagogue, you have to be very careful, because every synagogue, especially the large ones, have spies sitting to see what Jewish people are up to. And so everything has to be done with a secret signal, a wink, a little note left somewhere. He was able to arrange to meet a day later with 2 or 3 Chabad Hasidim that they met in someone's house in a basement. And he's telling them about the Rebbe and how they all had longings to see. Some of them had never seen the Rebbe even, but they were very closely connected and attached to the Rebbe. And then Rebbe Teitz showed them the Tanya. He said, "Here, this Tanya is a Tanya that the Rebbe studies in and uses." And they said, "Oh, the Rebbe held this Tanya?" He said, "Held the Tanya. Every day he would study in it." And one of them took the Tanya and carefully, lovingly looked through the pages. And suddenly he noticed that in one page there was a fold. And he read what it said on that page, and he jumped up and screamed, "This is it! This is my answer! I received my answer!" Rabbi Teitz says, "What are you talking about?" He says, "I heard that now Russia is just starting to give visas to leave Russia, that the permission for some people to leave Russia. And I didn't know if I should apply for an exit visa or not, because if I'm granted, fine. Then I go out, take my family, we go. But if I'm not granted, then I'm arrested for being a traitor to Russia, that I want to leave this wonderful country, and I'm sent to Siberia for who knows how many years." I didn't know what I should do. So I wrote this down in a letter, and I can't send a letter to the Rebbe because everything is censored. So I put the letter in a Torah book, a book of Tanya that I have in my house. And now I see that in this Tanya, the Rebbe folded a page, and on this page it says that when you are confronted with evil, run away from the evil. Just run away. The Rebbe is telling me that I should apply for the exit visa and try to run away. Wow. Rabbi Teitz thought to himself, "This is so weird. What? That fold is probably the Rebbe was reading the Tanya and he wanted to make a little mark where he's up to, and he folded the page. Why does he think that that the letter he wrote and put into a book of Tanya in his home in Russia, that the Rebbe got that letter, and that the Rebbe answered him by putting a fold. I mean, but he didn't want to say anything. I'm not going to interfere with these people's beliefs. And then a second guy took the Tanya, and he leafed through further, and he's another fold. And he said, "Oh, there's a second fold in the Tanya." He said, "I too wrote a letter about leaving Russia, and on this page it says," and I also put it into a Tanya in my house, and this page it says that when you're confronted with evil, try to transform the evil. Don't run away from it, but try to transform it into something good. The Rebbe is telling me I should stay and try to do as many good deeds as I can here in Russia by trying to transform the evil. And again, Rebbe Teitz thought these people are weird. It didn't make sense to him. At any rate, he was happy that people felt that they got an answer. And he comes back, reports back to the Rebbe, and he says to the Rebbe, "Here's the Tanya." And he says, "I showed it to the people." He didn't want to say anything about what these people were saying because he thought the Rebbe would think it's weird. So the Rebbe took back the Tanya, thanked him, and the Rebbe looked at him with a smile and he said, "Did any of them notice the folds in the Tanya that I folded to answer their letters?" At that point, Rabbi Teitz realized the tremendous spiritual power of the Rebbe, that a person can put a letter somewhere in a Torah book in Russia, and the Rebbe in New York, in Brooklyn, gets the letter. And how the Rebbe answered them by putting a fold in the Tanya. They were right. And the Rebbe still is taking care of us. The Rebbe still shows care and concern for his followers. But we still hope for the day that when Mashiach will come, we'll be reunited with the Rebbe, and all of us will go out of exile and come to the Holy Land, build the third temple, and we hope that will be very, very soon. Have a very wonderful Shabbos.